Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zach. Today I'm going to be giving an update on VXRT. So you'd find my previous DD in the description below if you'd like to watch it after this one. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, and subscribe and leave notifications on to get the latest out of these videos. So without further ado, I'm going to go through technical analysis, and then I found some interesting news on this one here on the latest updates, and I'm going to go through that, the company presentation, and then how I would be playing the stock if I was trading it. So first things first, you get to see on the MACD here that it's actually testing a reversal sometime, potentially next week, where the MACD is curving up towards a positive, and whether we see a breakthrough or not, that really depends on the price action for this one. Average directional index is sitting in at 25. Now it's dipping up from the top, so nothing significant there. William percent R is sitting in really close to oversold, so that is good news in there when it comes in. Momentum, you get to see that it is actually establishing in a better momentum than what it had on the 30th, and it's creeping up a little. Now going on towards moving averages, 30 MA and the 10 SMA are really touching. 30 MA is slightly above the 10 SMA, so that is a little bit bearish. Now stock price still above the 200 SMA and the 50 SMA, so that is bullish. Now looking on to the 1 hour intervals, what we get to see here is a bit more different news. So one thing that you get to see is that the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA have been really touching in very closely for a while now. And so the 50 SMA is currently under the 200 SMA, so that is bearish, but it has high opportunity for it to reverse easily here. ADX shows in a sloppy movement, and you get to see that William percent R is sitting in more closer to overbought in the extended market, but has been shuffling between oversold and overbought during the day. Momentum here seems to be almost non-existent in terms of movements for momentum, so it's more of a sit still, and MACD does confirm that. So we need to look a little bit into the unbalanced volume here. You get to see that the stock is expected to trade between the 1192 and 980 and the unbalanced volume, but nothing significant on there happening. But the stock price is underneath there, so that's more of an interesting one for me. Going on towards where resistances and supports are. So this is on to the 6 month spline. So what I'm going to do here quickly is I'm going to be setting this one at 101 and going on to the 1 hour perspective. And you get to see right off the bat on the 1 hour perspective, you get to see a resistance happening at 930. That resistance is currently a support as it's jumped a little bit above that. Above that, in terms of resistances, what we're seeing is 939. And then above that, we're seeing 949. And then above that, 958. And then you get to see 962, 98, 992, and it goes up to 996. And then we're seeing 10.2. Going on towards where supports are, you're seeing 913, 904, and then 886, and then below that 849. In terms of current trends and whatnot, so let's try to take a quick look. We don't see any current trends that look significant. I mean, this could be an inverted cup, but nothing significant here from the massive jump that it did have from $1 6 months ago. 223 from where the March dip is, or sorry, from where June is. Now going on towards latest news in the company's presentation. So basically, they're trying to have a vaccine as a pill for the COVID-19. An interesting view for this one, and a little bit more off a newer kind of perspective towards the COVID-19 vaccines. Now the H1N1 pandemic vaccine made rapidly tested in animals in a matter of weeks. So this was more about the H1N1 vaccine related to the COVID-19 response. So they do have a bit more anticipation to their Vaxart vaccine in terms of the tablet vaccine. Now, in terms of the flu study here, you get to see some numbers and whatnot. So you get to see that, for instance, pain and injection site for flu zone is 13.9, and the tenderness and injection site is 26.4. And so what they're trying to really look forward on is more of a painless kind of streamlined vaccine process where you just take a pill and you don't have to worry about skin trauma or things for that matter. It does have applications, for instance, in COVID-19. It is still a COVID vaccine player. Now, this is some of the things that they're actually working on. So the COVID-19 vaccine is really approaching in the phase 1. So that is a good news there coming in. They do have different things on the pipeline that are all on, like for instance, the norovirus is between phase 1 and phase 2 currently. Seasonal influenza on the quadrivalent is going on to phase 1 soon, so there is a bit of PR potential over there. The rest is not significant for me here. Other than, for instance, like the COVID-19 program advancing rapidly, phase 1, to start in the second half of 2020, which we are in already. So that's almost any day now coming in towards where that news would be out. So definitely there is a really high advantage on there. Norovirus program phase 2 ready. You get to see that they have $140 million of cash on hand as of July 31st, as if from 2 weeks ago. And basically validated approach to BARDA funded flu challenge study is actually also advancing and could emerge as an ideal solution for COVID-19 as well. So coming in towards institutional buyers, and this is something that what found very interesting for me, is look at how many new positions have been added at least this week. And you get to see easily way above 5 million shares. I mean, this one here company alone have bought around 2.8 million shares. 200,000, 120,000, 780,000. I mean, you could easily go on to 6 million, 6 million shares adding on. Now, this is just a skim from where we had from August. A lot more interest from what it had in July. And what does that tell me is that institutional value is seeing a lot of potential for this company. Now, there is some companies here that have decreased their shares or got rid of shares. For instance, Golden Stealth, Wealth Management, Alfred Capital, but you get to see other ones, for instance, like VR Advisors. And let's take a quick look into their portfolio, for instance. I mean, a lot of them, if they're buying around 3 million shares, almost 1 million shares, going on at almost $10 per share, it seems that they know something. They're not going to throw out money. This one here is $417 million in terms of their current positions, with only 16 current positions. And it looks like one of their biggest positions right now is VXRT. No, they have other ones like Surf, mRNS. So different names here, but it seems that this one is on the top 10 of their biggest positions, and they seem that they're actually really a believer of that, and there's a lot of institutional value. So that is something interesting I found when I was doing a quick DD on this one, and I wanted to kind of share it with everyone. I'm going to go through as well their 10K. Now, insider values, you do see an exercise, but nothing significant happening in August in terms of purchasing of new shares. Going on towards their 8K highlights, you get to see some of the highlights. Actually, this is almost all mentioned back in the presentation, so I'm not going to go through that here. The 10K here, you get to see an increase of current assets, and you're looking at 45 million compared to 17.6 million in terms of assets increase, and doubling their assets from 64 million to 37 million in terms of total assets. And you're seeing here that the total shareholder equity is seeing around 40 million compared to almost 13 million. And the total liability and stockholder equity is also doubled as well there. Now, going on towards revenue, you get to see that it has seen a really nice revenue compared to what I imagine is a null revenue here from year to year. Royalty revenue has also increased, and you get to see a total revenue going on from $523,000 compared to $85,000. And you get to see that the EPS is sitting in 0.12 compared to 0.39. But here's the problem: is the net loss is more, but there's more shares that have been diluted, so it's a little bit of mixed news there in terms of revenue. So it seems that their expenses has also increased in terms of the operating expenses, going on from almost 5 million to 8.5 million in operating net loss, and their total operating expenses has doubled. Now, do I see a future in this company? There is a possibility from what the balance sheets are looking on. Definitely in terms of pharma and contribution to studies and whatnot, that really burns through money. This is the norovirus, basically estimated at 10.6 billion each year in the United States. That's one of their vaccines that is going on to, one of their pipelines that is going on to phase 2. This one has, Vaxart raises approximately 90 million in gross proceeds through its at-market facility. For RA Capital bought 10% on there, so that's a little bit better off with the revenue from other kind of parties. This was increase of shares for warrants. Can't remember where exactly. Okay, so yeah, common stock, preferred stock, debt securities, warrants, purchase contracts, and units. So there is a bit of increase in there in terms of their shelf, but a lot of it has been exercised into 10% from my understanding. So how would I play this stock? This stock is really doubling down around the $8.9. And I found a bit of a more of a bottom at $80.95. I would like to see how it plays in terms of next week, but it is very much of a considered hold for me if you bought it already. And I'll be considering buying it sometime next week. I'll do mention as well in on my Twitter. Now, this is more of a swing play or more off a little bit of a longer hold, so it's not a trading on hype, but it's an interesting find, and I would like to know what you're thinking about the sticker. Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and you have a wonderful day.